The dress was hanging on the back of my bedroom door. I had picked it out weeks earlier. Nothing flashy, just a simple deep green dress with clean lines. Comfortable enough to move in but elegant enough for photographs. I stood there for a moment, studying it. Engagement parties are strange things. They're meant to celebrate the future. But for me, it felt more like quietly closing one chapter of my life before opening another. My fiancé, Daniel, had reserved a ballroom in a small hotel downtown. Friends from work were coming. A few mentors from earlier in my career. Some people who had watched me grow into who I was. Family had been invited too. That part always carried uncertainty. Downstairs, my brother's voice echoed through the house. "Big day for the golden girl," Ryan said loudly to my parents. I ignored it and headed to the kitchen for coffee. Ryan leaned against the counter when I walked in, arms folded. "You really think this whole thing's going to work out?" he asked. I didn't answer. My parents sat at the table. My mother, Carol, barely glanced up from her phone. "Don't start anything today," she muttered to Ryan, though there was little conviction in her voice. He smirked. "I'm just being realistic." I finished my coffee and returned upstairs. The house felt heavy, the way it always had. For years I'd learned how to move quietly through it, focus on school, stay out late studying, build a life that existed mostly somewhere else. Eventually that somewhere else became the Marine Corps. It was a part of my life my family never tried very hard to understand. Around noon I went back to my room to start getting ready. The hallway smelled faintly like smoke. At first I thought it was drifting in from outside. Then I noticed the open window in my bedroom and the empty hook on the door. The dress was gone. I stepped outside into the backyard. Something was burning in the metal fire pit. Ryan stood beside it casually, hands in his pockets. The deep green fabric had already curled into blackened threads. He looked at me and grinned. "Thought I'd help you out," he said. I stared at the fire. "You burned it." He shrugged. "Relax. It's just a dress." The flames crackled softly. Then he leaned a little closer and said quietly, almost pleasantly, "I want you to fail on your engagement day." Behind him, my parents stepped onto the porch. My mother crossed her arms. "Well," she said, "maybe it's a sign." "A sign?" I repeated. "That you shouldn't rush into things," she said coolly. "You've always been impulsive." My father, George, shook his head slowly. "You deserve to be knocked down a little," he added. "Might humble you." For a moment the fire was the only sound in the yard. I thought about arguing, explaining, defending myself. Instead, I turned around and went back inside. No one followed. The drive to the hotel took 20 minutes. Traffic was light. The city moved along with its usual rhythm, people crossing streets, cafes buzzing. The quiet weekday life that makes personal drama feel strangely small. When I parked, I sat in the car for a moment. Then I reached into the back seat and opened the garment bag. Inside was the backup outfit I had packed, just in case. I changed in the hotel restroom. Putting on the uniform always felt different, heavier than normal clothing, structured in a way that forced your shoulders straight. When I pinned the insignia into place, I paused. 2 silver stars. Years of deployments, training cycles, and long decisions had led to that moment. Standing in front of the mirror, I didn't feel proud, just steady. The ballroom had already begun filling when I walked in. Several officers from the base spotted me immediately. "Ma'am," one of them greeted with a respectful nod. Friends from different chapters of my life came over to say hello. None of them seemed surprised. To them, this was simply who I was. About 40 minutes later, the ballroom doors opened again. My parents walked in. Ryan followed behind them. They stopped almost immediately. From across the room, I saw the moment everything registered. The uniform, the stars on my shoulders, the way other guests stood a little straighter when they greeted me. My mother's face went pale. My father blinked several times as if trying to refocus his vision. Ryan took a hesitant step forward. "Oh, my God," he whispered. Then, louder, "Uncertain, Sarah." The word sounded strange coming from him. I didn't walk toward them. I didn't say anything. Across the room, someone raised a glass to start a toast. Daniel appeared beside me, calm and smiling. Music began again. Conversations continued. Life in the ballroom moved forward without interruption. Near the entrance, my family stood frozen, looking oddly out of place. Not humiliated, just disconnected from a reality they had never cared enough to understand. And for the first time in my life, I realized something quietly important. Their opinion of me had stopped mattering long before that night. I had simply been too busy living to notice.